Motherfucker, she said, pushing up her glasses. Phil and Emmy blinked at her. There were 2 customers in the store at the time, flipping through stacks of vinyl, and they both turned to look at her and then at each other. It's too vague, she continued. Used to mean something, but now I hear it in comparison to anything. And everything. I'll hear a guy say that the test he took in class today was hard as a motherfucker, and then go on to some other topic, such as dating, picking up some chick at a keg party, and then he'll say she's easy as a motherfucker. Well, what the hell is a motherfucker then? Phil and his wife, Emily, both pursed their lips and blinked some more, suffering the girl. This was not unusual. And what brings it up, she went on, while you 2 were at lunch, there were these 3 guys in here earlier, and when they found this bootleg CD of Mike Patton, they were talking excitedly about how that motherfucker was badder than a motherfucker. Now that you're back, could you please explain me the logic in that? By the look on both your faces, you're as stumped as I am, so here's my way of remedying the situation. I'm going to write to our congressman, asking him to motion a bill to propose an internationally agreed upon, set in stone, standard unit of measurement that will be concrete and unwavering, known as motherfucker. The 2 owners of the store, Big Beat Records, and both of the customers stared at the one and only employee. She had gotten used to these long silences and was no longer offended when her solutions went unappreciated. She gave her catchphrase sigh of exasperation and went to sit on her stool behind the cash register, underneath the picture she'd taken of herself and mounted on a card marked Employee of the Month. Her audience raised their eyebrows and shook their heads. The customers returned to their browsing, and her bosses went to the office in the back that overlooked the music store, neither of them saying a word. She picked up a pen and tapped a beat with it against her counter, wondering if she was the only sane one in the world. Her name was officially Bonnie Ophelia DeLon, but she called herself Megan because it suited her better. She was not beautiful, but she wasn't plain or ugly either. She had the kind of face that could not ever be called sensual, enticing, delicate, or even cute, but she was attractive. She was not petite, but she was short and slim. Her face wasn't necessarily aquiline, aristocratic, or even patrician, whatever the hell that is, but it was dignified and intelligent and of the type that would continue to be whatever else it was, even when she'd grown old. In short, she looked like a Megan. How she'd been named Bonnie made no sense to her at all, and it was the only exception to the rule that she was convinced governed looks. Regardless of genes and hereditary physical traits, people grew up looking like their names. There were no dashing and devilishly handsome womanizers named Marvin. There were no dentists or accountants or insurance salesmen named Val. And try as you might, you will never ever meet a graffiti artist wigger named Irving or an amateur bullfighter named Clive. All little girls named Lisa or Heather would grow up to be heartbreakers, and all girls named Peggy, well, wouldn't. There were absolutely no librarians named Trixie, no strippers named Beatrice, and definitely no crack whores named Eleanor Lynn Barrington, and no big-time gangsters named Barnaby Snodgrass. Megan secretly wished she could have been named Ashley McLaughlin, but her dad had told her to wish in one hand and shit in the other and see which hand filled up first. Thanks, Dad. A jingling came from the front door swinging open. She glanced up as a man walked in who had just had to be named Jack or Tom. He had to be. She didn't have the breath to greet him and welcome him into the store and ask if he had any assistance. She just stared as he wandered in past her. Tom or Jack was on the short side of medium height and, while not a hunk, was definitely gorgeous in her eyes. He wore a beige suit with a silver shirt that had the top 3 buttons open, and she could see the hints of a very nice chest through the V. His skin was tan, his hair and goatee dark gold and sun-bleached, with streaks that looked like he worked all day in the sun, but not before he'd combed lemon juice through it. Not like she'd know anything about that, of course. This time around, her own hair was black. Her eyes were blue or gray or hazel, depending on what she wore or what mood she was in. Right now, they were quickly turning blue. He didn't notice her, which wasn't really a surprise, she thought. He was scanning the shelves for something in particular. Her spirits fell when she saw the wedding band, and she figured it was just as well. While she watched him, she wondered if she should start wearing her hair differently or put on makeup or stop dressing so conservatively. Or maybe start wearing dresses instead of her tight jeans and men's shirts and sweaters. Maybe wear nicer glasses, too. Tom or Jack, or maybe Brad, didn't find what he was looking for, picked up something else instead and brought it over, reading the back of it while he approached. When he got to her little station, he looked up to ask her something and froze. His eyes were wide and green, and he stared at her as if he recognized her from somewhere. What the She'd definitely have known if she'd seen him before, but she was suddenly embarrassed and at a loss for words. His lips had parted when their eyes met, and he remembered to close them when he tried to recover himself. He looked away and cleared his throat, looked back at her, opened his mouth, and closed it again. Swallowed. "Hi," he said. Hello. Can I help you find something?" She didn't know what the hell all this was about, and she was starting to think she had Tommy here pegged wrong. He blushed, looked down at the CD jewel case in his hand. He blushed. His tanned face flamed scarlet. Then he scowled and twisted his mouth in disgust, nodded as if agreeing with some voice in his head. "Figures," he muttered. "Finally happens, and I gotta screw it up." He dropped the jewel case on the counter, and it clattered loudly as he went to the glass door, pushed on it and walked out, and the two big jingle bells that swung on a red braided rope from the handle ringing in mockery. Megan went about the rest of her day, selling CDs and records and taking her cigarette breaks outside every 15-20 minutes. Every now and then she'd remember the guy and wonder. Probably a nutcase. You can't judge a book, she thought, especially these days. During a lull, she read a scientific study about the surprising discovery some folks had made with chimps and they were studying. Apparently, there is a great flavored drink that they love so much that they're willing to use it as money. They will trade certain amounts of it for something they want, and the kicker is that they will trade all of it for an opportunity to look at photos of the other chimps that rank higher in their tribe, or family, or whatever it was called. She thought. Kind of like us with celebrity magazines. When 5 o'clock rolled around, Phil came out of the office where Megan hadn't seen either his or Emmy's faces in the window for at least 2 hours. The skin around his mouth was pink and irritated. Megan suppressed a laugh. Not bad for an old-timer, she thought. "Are you still here?" he asked good-naturedly, feigning contempt. "Somebody had to watch the place. Anybody buy anything?" A few." "Well, why don't you punch your card and get lost? Surely you have better things to do." "Oh yeah, rent a movie and get takeout, do my laundry, maybe dye my hair again. Fun, fun, fun." "You want to come over for dinner later?" "No, thanks. Emily's making lasagna." "Appreciate it, but I can only be a third wheel so many times." "Suit yourself. Go on and scram. We'll close up." "Night, Phil." She got her bag and headed for the door. "Try not to sprain anything, you old goat." She went out onto the sidewalk and stopped dead. What's-his-name stood a little ways down the sidewalk, draping his jacket over the spindle back of a chair next to a cafe's outdoor table, one of those black iron ice cream sets, gesturing to someone inside. She started toward him as he sat with his back against the plate glass front wall, lighting a cigarette. Before she got to him, a waiter appeared and took his order, and when she arrived at his table, he looked up and jumped a little in surprise. "Make that too," she said, and plopped down in a chair. The waiter vanished back inside, and What's-his-name reached over with a long kitchen match to light Megan's cigarette, striking it with his thumbnail and looking oh so cool. Thank you," she said, puffing it to life. "It'd be best if you left," he said. "I'm in no hurry to get anywhere. What's your name?" "I'm Nick." "Not Jack." "Oh well. What's yours?" "Megan." "Hi, Megan. Nice to meet you." "Pleasure's mine," she said, blowing smoke at him. "I'm married, Megan." "Congratulations." "Thanks. It'd be best if you'd leave." "What, you think I'm here to throw myself at you or something?" "No." "Are you so sure of yourself that you think I must have you?" "Not at all." "Good. So why all the drama earlier?" "I thought I'd seen you somewhere before." "Ah. Is the confusion over now?" "Nope." He let out a perfect smoke ring. And another. "What do you mean? We don't know each other." "No, but I've seen you. Look, don't waste your time." The waiter came out with 4 lowball Cuba Libres on a tray and set 2 in front of each of them. Megan was surprised. "I didn't know that's what you ordered," she said when the waiter had gone again. Nick shrugged, picking up one of the glasses and draining it in one long go. She was even more surprised. "Whoa, hold your horses there. It's only 5 o'clock. "Time is relative," he said. "It's midnight somewhere." "Are you an alcoholic?" "None of my business, I know, but no, I'm not. I'm just drinking until I can make a rational decision." "Oh, really?" "Oh, well, shit, that's the way to do it, I guess." "It'd be best if you leave." That's the third time you said that. I have to know why. You'll think I'm nuts. I already do. Tell me. It's stupid. Come on, you'll never see me again, so why worry about it? He looked at her a moment. That's exactly why I'm worried. Oh, come on! Look, it's stupid, and it's crazy, and it doesn't make any sense. Screw it, I'll tell you. It's creepy as hell, but I've been seeing you in my dreams. He didn't give her a chance to think about it and let it sink in. He kept on, running his words together, but she was automatically wondering whether or not she wanted to believe him. The way she always half wanted to believe in ghosts, telepathy, or anything fantastic. For the past couple of years, no matter what I'm doing in my dream, I come across you. You're always in bed, resting, tired and irritable, sick with something. But I don't know what. I've wondered about it and figured you must always be sick because you won't get out of bed. You're always lying there, waiting to get better, and you never do. You're not a major figure in my dreams, but you're always in them. Well, for the past couple months, I've been nervous around you. I feel like I did when I was a boy and there was a pretty girl who'd always be screwing with me, starting unnecessary arguments. You know what I mean? Well, my mom told me it's because she liked me, and that made no sense at all, but that's the thing I'd be wondering after that, always arguing with her, thinking, does she like me? And if she does, what am I supposed to do? Just lunge and grab her and kiss her? And that's what I've been wondering lately in my dreams. Do you like me? Should I make a move? And if I should, how? And what if I'm wrong? And well, the night before last, I threw caution to the wind and just reached down. You were on a futon, cluttered with stuff in the middle of a cramped hallway, and I grabbed you and pressed my lips against yours, cutting you off in mid-sentence. For one split second you were surprised, but I could hear your thoughts as if they were on the air, as if you were broadcasting them, and you were like, it's about goddamn time! And we were kissing so passionately. I haven't felt anything so hot as your kisses, even with my own wife, not in years. She was listening with her eyes wide and her lips parted. I was tingling all over, all my short hair standing on end. It felt like your lips were water after I'd crawled through a desert, the way I'd suck on the lower and the upper, from one to the other and back again, and when your tongue would dart out to tease mine, I'd get a jolt of this deliciously electrifying... God, I can't describe it, but it was so hot, so incredibly passionate. And then I opened my eyes. Not my dream eyes, but my real eyes, and I was making out with my pillow. Megan burst out laughing, and Nick shook his head with a little smile of embarrassment, a face that read, yes, it's funny now, but it sure wasn't then. He changed the tone of the story to follow her change in mood. Yeah, I tried to close my eyes and slip back into the dream, but I knew it was my pillow I was mashing my lips against, and tongue coming out to lick, and that kind of ruined it. And then, of course, I looked to my right and saw my wife watching me, trying not to laugh and disturb me. Oh God, that must have been embarrassing. You have no idea. So, did she take over? How could she not? Well, she's frigid. What? She's never in the mood. Ever. She was until she trapped me into marriage, and after that, nothing. Honeymoon was very disappointing, and the years after... But I have never cheated on her, not once, not even in my thoughts until 2 nights ago. And all of yesterday, I've been consumed with these fantasies of what I'd do to this dream girl. The things that I'm imagining when I'm waiting at a red light or standing in line at the grocery store, they're things I've never done to a girl before. Things I didn't know I wanted to do. Like what? Now she was more than mildly interested. Well, I don't want to just go down on her. I want to flip her over and lick her behind, bury my face into the 2 beautiful halves of her ass, feel them cushioning soft and warm against my face, and lap madly at her, a rim job, I've heard them called, but I've never done it. And I want to suck on her cute little toes, and what? Then, last night, I went to bed praying I'd get to do all those things. I was hoping so desperately for it that I'd convince myself it was going to happen, and then... What? It was like Christmas Eve when I was a kid, you know what I mean? Lying awake thinking about, how wonderful it'll be, and being frustrated that I can't get to sleep because I'm so consumed with anticipation. That was last night, and then, when I finally fell... And... nothing. I fell asleep and I woke up. I dreamed nothing at all. It was such a letdown, and all morning I was thinking about the same things I was yesterday, but it was bittersweet, knowing that it was all just a dream and how Even if I could find you at night, seize the few moments I could have with you, and taste as much of you as I can, you'd still evaporate like smoke when morning comes. And then, today, his eyes met hers, bright and fiercely green, and hers very, very blue. Today I came face to face with you. My heart stopped. I couldn't ever